What's going on, guys? I'm not gonna lie, it feels great to pick up a camera again and get back into vlogging. Um, I'm not gonna lie, today we didn't do anything, no work. We just basically sat there and just chilled out as a family and didn't do anything. I mean, the animals still got fed, but I really didn't do any work at all. I got sorry for the lighting and sorry if there's any wind. It's still a little windy today. The temps dropped. It's amazing. Yesterday was like 70 something degrees, and then today is like 40 with the wind chill of like, it feels like 5. It's a little chilly today, but I got the truck halfway parked in here in the barn. Try to give me a little bit more natural light or regular light, whatever you want to call it, good enough for the camera and still be able to get out of the wind some. But one of the things I mentioned in the vlog yesterday was I wasn't able to get out and go to opening day on spring turkey. And to be honest with you, I don't know if I'll be able to do spring turkey this year. But if I'm able to, there's some things that I've made changes to. And that's one thing that I keep on talking about, changes. It's not that I'm... I guess you could call it upgrading. I'm not really trying to follow what everybody else does. I mean, it might be the same, or I'll notice something that'll help me out that someone else does, and I'll put a little twist on it myself in my own style. But another one was my horrible deer season. That was one of 3 things. Well, not one of 3 things. That was all of 3 things, and that was mainly I was putting myself in predicaments of basically failure, and then I would put myself in situations where I would be in the right area, but they'll be too far away. And then it was basically I was just always working all the time. I didn't really get a chance to go ahead and scout out there like I used to. And it just made things a little bit harder on me as a hunter to be able to be successful. So I was basically going out there and just jumping off the edge of a cliff, basically, and hoping I just, land in a pile of deer just to be successful this year. But what I took from that is I was able to go ahead and all the areas that I went into, I'd see deer. I'd see where they're at, but I didn't know what times they were, moving in that area. I wasn't able to scout and see where they were coming from exactly and everything. And there was one time, and this is before the deer season ended and I basically stopped vlogging. I went out to public land one last time, and I mean at least 12 deer in front of me, but they were out of range. And I was basically getting frustrated, and I was about to pack up and get home. And it was that 5 minutes, you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and call it. But then you still want to sit there and push an extra 5 minutes. Anything can happen. Another 5 minutes, another 5 minutes, another 5 minutes. Well, I go ahead and finally decide to start moving. Well, when I moved, apparently there was a young buck cutting out a trail, or blazing a trail himself through some thorn brush that I was hiding in, and he was literally over my shoulder and blew off at me in my ear. That was pretty much a little scary, but I mean, no harm from it. And I just wrapped up deer season. That was it. I just called it. And then the next day I was actually about to it was just a little bit more frustration. I mean, the hunting was just a little frustration of what me and my family were going through. But literally, I go to pick up the camera, and I start vlogging. And I go to grab my bow to go hunting on the private property, and I notice 2 of my 5 arrows are missing. So in my frustration, well, this is what I normally do. If I'm on the ground or in a tree stand, I normally loosen up 1 arrow, and I knock 1 arrow. I have 1 arrow knocked, ready to go, and then I have 1 loosened up just in case I got to do a follow-up shot. Well, in frustration, I didn't put my arrows, I didn't push them in all the way, I guess. I'm assuming that's what happened. So I got to go ahead and reload my quiver. I guess while I'm at it, I'll go ahead and get the shafts replaced and get some new heads and everything, since I need them anyways. But anyways, I'm over here rambling on and on and on. The reason why I can't get out there and possibly do this turkey season, or the reason why I missed opening day, is because I'm basically working. Well, not basically working. Let's just get straight to it. I volunteered for 3rd shift for a project at work. The reason why I'm doing that is because the time that they offered me to work to get the overtime, I would have never seen my family. So I basically offered them the 3rd shift, working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, and I've been able to get a lot of stuff caught up. and been able to spend a little bit more time with the family, surprisingly. Where on first shift, I could get my 6 hours of sleep or 4 hours of sleep, whatever it is. I would still come home late. Kids are about to go to bed, blah, blah, blah. Well, third shift, I come home, I sleep for, 2 or 3 hours, get up, and I see the family before I have to head out and go to work again. So, but I've literally gotten so much done on the farm, at the barn, trying to come up with not new ideas, but just getting everything ready for this year. And I've gotten more done since I've been on this third shift schedule than I would be able to do in just one summer. Now, I haven't been able to set jugs. My boat's dirty, still parked in the back of the barn and everything. But today I just really wanted to focus on one thing only, and that's me correcting my issue that I had this past deer season, and something that I can use during turkey season. But yeah, screw it. Let's just get straight into it. So now this is a backpack. This is my hunting backpack. It's a Maxpedition Falcon 2. I love this backpack. I've had this backpack probably for at least 9 years. I'd give it 9 years, and it has been my baby for hunting, fishing, or anything. It is my go-to. I've used it for camera equipment. I've used it for hiking. I've used it for anything that requires a backpack. This is my backpack that I go to. This is I think a 20 or 22 liter backpack. It's not a light backpack whatsoever. There's a little bit more cargo than what it really needs, but I mean, you're talking about an assault backpack, so. But I'm not going to get into what's in it fully, but there is one item that I had ordered this just a couple weeks ago that I think will be able to change my game on how I hunt and how successful I'm going to be for this year. Okay, so this is basically what we got. It's in the main compartment of my backpack, and I guess I'll let y'all see the main compartment. It's got a little net pocket here. It's actually a very strong net pocket, and then that's, oh, here we go, I forgot about this. It's also got a net pocket on the other side, but it fully opens up. And what I got in here is my safety line, and that safety line I will be using with my arborist harness. This is a new one. I just ordered it a couple weeks ago. It is not the first time I've used one. It was actually, when I was a young teenager, it was one of my first jobs that I ever had landscaping, was climbing the trees and topping them off, especially large ones that are questionable when you're felling them. So I would climb up there and just start working my way down, limbing them, topping them off and everything until it was safe enough to drop the rest of the tree. And when this deer season, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, wait a second, if I can wear this all day and top trees, move around the trees and everything. I mean, it was basically the same setup as what the hunters are using now as a tree saddle. And my safety line is almost the same setup of what hunters use now as a safety line. Why can't I go ahead and order that, order another harness, take the safety line, and I'm still going to make an additional line, probably a lineman's belt. I'll make it myself, but I could get that and everything and make my life a little bit easier. The reason why I'm saying this is because a lot of the trees, I don't know if I can, I don't think I have any trees near here to show y'all, but a lot of trees, here we go, here goes a good example. That tree right there, it's probably about, I don't know, 30 feet tall, but it's small. It's a small tree. It's still big enough for me to climb and support my weight. You can possibly put a stationary tree stand in there. I guess like the hunting public, I mean, they'll get up 8 feet off the ground in the meadow or in a marsh somewhere and, hunt off of that. But I was sitting there thinking, because of some of the walks that I do, or some of the, when I go to hunt, I walk a long distance, and I don't know if y'all picked up from me last year, but I try to stay as minimal as possible. I want to call myself a minimalist. I'm not that extreme, but I do try to stay as minimal as possible. I only really prefer taking out what I need and what I know I will use. So I know some of y'all are probably thinking, well, why don't you just go get you a hunting saddle or whatever? I can, and I thought about it. And this wasn't about price when it comes to things like this. This is mainly about how often am I going to use it. And you're probably thinking, well, Lenny, you're probably going to use it every time you go hunting. Okay, that's fine. But I don't look at it that way. I look at how often I can use it throughout that year. There's stuff that I have in containers for 6 months. If I don't touch that stuff in 6 months, other than tools, but whether it's clothes or a specific item that I know for a fact I won't use, it gets locked up. If I don't use it for 6 months, I get it donated or sell it in a yard sale or whatever. But this is an item that I know I can use every day of the year, if I do use it every day of the year, and basically utilize it for whatever I need it to be utilized for. So this is not just, I can not only use this as an arborist harness, and I can not only use it or use that for a hunting harness, but I could use it as a mountaineering harness, a rock climbing harness, which is something I'm also into that I've not really vlogged about. Actually, I'm more into bouldering than rock climbing. But Bud is wanting to get into rock climbing. So I'm seeing these opportunities of me being able to use all this. And this next year or two, I will be more of an arborist than a hunter anyways. We have big plans that are changing our lives here in the future. And again, I will save that for another day. But this right here, I believe will change everything. I'm rambling. I'm really bad at this. It's been a minute, guys. I'm sorry. Let's go back to that tree that I was talking about. Now, I would be in, I said I would put myself in predicaments where I would be, basically, I would fail. I would basically hope. I knew they were there. I knew they were crossing in front of me, but I would fail. Because I wouldn't give myself a shooting lane, but cut out a shooting lane or anything wherever I went. So I would sit there on the ground knowing that I would fail, still sitting there hoping I would see cedar trees or young maples, something that I can easily climb into and stand in. And I would at times, and I never put it in the vlogs, but I would stand there at times for at least 2 hours until I got tired. And my problem was is once I got out of that tree, that's when the deer wanted to move. And so I was racking my mind, and a lot of hunters last year were not coming out because it's been out for a while, but a lot of hunters have been converting to the hunting saddle. And I figured, well, I don't really want to get a hunting saddle because I know I would use it, but it's not something that I really want to just pull out once a year. A lot of the things that I have, I really prefer to pull out throughout the year. So after sitting there thinking about it, what I've went through, and how, like, just once I put down the camera, I just started thinking, I don't want to fail again. 2 deer is not enough to feed my family. Luckily, we had, we had a good summer on the farm, harvest a lot of animals, also good deals at the grocery store. But, we're in a lack of food, but we prefer to be able to harvest our own meat as much as we can. And, sitting there thinking about it and going through every scenario of hunting, trying to remember where I failed, how I failed, why I failed. There was always just one thing that I remembered. This one thing that I always remembered is me sitting there either in a tree stand or on the ground or even stalking, and always looking at this one tree and going, man, if only I could just be able to sit in there for a couple hours, I know for a fact I would be successful. Well, this harness right here, I know for a fact will help me be successful. So that's what I'm using this year. It's an arborist harness. Don't get the flimsy ones that are like $15, $20. I actually paid a little money for this one because I've done arborist work before, and so I know what is expected out of a harness when you're doing that style of work. And I figured if I can do it there for several hours a day with a chainsaw in my hand, then why can't I have a bow in my hand and sit there for a couple hours out of a morning or an evening and harvest me a deer? But guys, enough of the rambling about the harness and everything. I'm sure most of y'all out there got the idea. And again, the reason why I'm picking the arborist harness is because here lately and in the future, I will be doing more arborist work. And like I said, I will tell y'all, but tell y'all a little bit more about it in another vlog. Today, right now, I gotta go ahead and put down the camera and get into work.